Hi friends, it's Becky Roberts with Inking Idaho, and I'm going to go through some of the tips and tricks that I use in painting the Idaho Custom Creations tiered tray kit and other products, and address some of the questions that I've been asked. So stay tuned. Some of the products that I use to help me paint are our brushes, as well as the sponges that come in your kit. So I use Lowell Cornell brushes. These are both number 10, and then I have a stipple brush that I use for other things and in shading and highlighting. This is called a multi-purpose plastic brush washer, and this just has a little bit of grit on the bottom so that you can rinse your brushes out. And then I put my paint on palette paper, and this is just disposable. Once you just peel these off and throw them away once you're done with your create the backgrounds on some of the round inserts that are available at Idaho Custom Creations. I'm starting this one with a flower stencil from Jaded Blossom and some pixie spray, which is just a light tack repositionable adhesive for stencils. So you just pick your stencil up, you look at the front and the back, you decide which one's the back, you pick it up over a garbage can, you just spray it, and it creates a little bit of tacky texture on the back of your stencil. And it's kind of like Post-it note stuff. It's repositionable. I painted this one in a lavender with a little bit of blue around it. And I'm gonna stick this on here. And then over here on my palette paper, I have some white paint. I'm using Americana Warm White. Michelle has supplied you some paint in your kit. I'm using the bottom end of one of the sponges, and I'm just gonna start sponging these flowers. You wanna use just a very little bit of paint so that it doesn't bleed underneath. And I'm gonna go all around the edges first because that's really where it's gonna show the most. Okay, so now we have that part done, and now we have the reveal. Now I just wanted this to be kind of light and airy, so it's not gonna be super heavy. And there we have it. Just a few little flowers on the background. And then when we go ahead and put our Hello Spring on top, it just gives a little bit of background to it. Now I've got it all painted, and not assembled, but painted, but I want to show you a couple of things. In your kit, you have just your basic primary colors, but as you can see, I have orange, kind of a yellow orange, I have pink, I have some peachy color, the colors that are not in the kit. So what I want to do is I want to show you how I got to those colors and how to mix them. So I think I'll just scoot this stuff aside and we'll do it right in the middle. All right, it's pretty easy. Slide this all in here. Good thing I lined that all up, right? Okay, so the first thing I did is I went with my peach colors, so like my orange colors. And so I took a little bit of yellow, tiny bit of red to start with. Always start with just a small amount before you know what, because sometimes it gets really, really concentrated very quickly. So I did this, and I got this peachy orange color. And then this is about what color it was when I painted my butterfly, and a couple of the tulips over here in this one tulip. My goodness. So that tulip right there is from this mix also. And then I did this little tiny tulip right here, which goes in the market cart. I needed to make that a little bit lighter, so I took some white and made an even lighter color. So for just that little bit, that's what I needed right there. It's just that peach color. Then I took, let me think how I did this one. See this peach color right here? Obviously it has more red in it. Let's see. It's just paint, right? Yep, that's how I did it. Okay, so I took this, mixed those two together. Now I remember, I had to stop and have lunch, so I couldn't. Okay, there we go. So now we need some white. And if you don't have a palette knife, just use a popsicle stick or toothpick, whatever you have. Just make sure that it's thoroughly mixed all the way through so that you can get to it again. And you know, always mix a little bit more than you need also. Okay, so there's that peach color. And then this is also, I did this flower right here and this. Okay, moving right along. We need some gray for our tools. Our little tools need some gray, so that's easy, right? We just did black and white, but you can get a light gray, you can get a dark gray, you can get it, you know, whatever value you want. Okay, that's about where I was right there. And with that gray, I painted both of my tools. And then this right here, you want to paint gray because these are the little tops to your tools, which you'll see in the end. And then I started out by painting this bright yellow and I just didn't really like it. So I went gray on that. And then on the market cart, I painted my pots gray because I want my flowers to be the focus. So I painted those gray. Okay, so then after gray, I went with pink. So let's get some more white. And just a tiny bit of red. Because this one gets really bright really fast. Red does. So there's starting to get pink. Okay, and that's a nice pretty pink, but that's a pretty bright pink. I didn't really want it to be quite that bright. Just white and red together makes it very bright. So I just dipped into some of this peach color, and if you don't have that, just use yellow. And that mellows it out considerably. So with this one, I did a couple of the flowers. This little piece goes on top of this flower, so I wanted to make it just a little bit darker. And then I added some white to it because I thought it was a little bit too bright for the cart, but I did that flower. And then the cart, which you saw in pink. Did one of these in pink. And then on the crate that goes with that one, I did my sign in pink, but I did my numbers in black. Okay, so that's how we got those colors. So what I did first is I just painted everything with the colors that are provided in the kit. I painted everything that was green first because that was the easiest. And then everything that I wanted to be white. I'm gonna put white letters on top of my green banner here and just leave it. I'm putting this on my white tray, so I wanted it to show up really well. And then I knew what I wanted to be red. So with the red, I did that. And then the yellow, of course, and some of the tulips. And so just do your primary colors first and then kind of mix it up from there. All right, there is a couple of things that I want to show you how I do because I get questions on it a lot. And that is, how do I do some of my shading? Specifically, I've been asked a lot about gnome beards and I can't remember what else. So I'll just show you. I'm just gonna make a lighter gray. Okay, and then I'm just taking a flat brush. Like I said, this happens to be a number 10. I'm just gonna dip it in the water and I'm going to blot it on my paper towel. And on this corner only, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of paint, or a lot, and just go back and forth, just kind of wiping it out. Don't go into it, just wipe it out. And if there's too much water in it, just blot it again. But I'll show you how I made the shading on this. So once you have it on the corner of your brush, just lay it on right there, right where everything should be, you know, where it crosses or where it might be tucked in. Right there. Okay, so that just gives it a little bit of shading. And then let's see what else needs a little shading. I don't know if that's the right color to do that to that flower, but I'll repaint it if it's not. I'll just show you. So I'm going to load up in the pink and just put a little bit up the side of this flower. Yeah, that's not really the best color, but that's how you do it. And then just a little bit down the side. Okay, and then on my market cart, I left my pots gray, but I need to shade them so that they have a little bit of dimension to them. So I'm gonna take, probably should take this dark. Yeah. And then where the, like maybe like where the under, you know how the pot has the little lip right there? Can't say that I've ever done this holding it in my hand. That's not very straight, but I'll fix it. You get the idea. Okay, and then on the flowering or on the watering can, you can do the same thing if you just want to make a little bit of definition. Something like that. If you don't like it, just wipe it off real fast with water. Okay, and then one other thing, I think I've said that like 3 times now. I'm gonna take some white, and I'm gonna take one of these stipple brushes. I don't really know what these are called. They're Lowell Cornell 5000 China, number 2, cheap. I mean, really cheap. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip it tiny bit. I need a drier paper towel in my paper towel, and then in a circular motion, I'm wiping virtually all of it off. And then I'm just going to wipe it across where it might be light for, like what we just did was shading. So now we maybe just do a little highlight. I think I need a little bit more. You see that? Just adds a little highlight to it. You can come this direction. You people who out there who are true artists are probably just choking right now. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. Adds a little bit. Can you see that with my window? Doggone it. A little bit of, you know, life to it. And then on this one, I wanted to take a darker color. Do I want to do black? Sure, let's commit. I don't want these to fall out. And in the center of these little flowers, just gonna put a little center in them because they don't have anything. And then don't rinse this out and use it. It has to be completely dry. So switch to a different brush. So I'm gonna switch to this one, pick up some white and just barely dab the center. Oh, I guess we'll be repainting both of those. But look, that one's perfect. So just add a little center to it. And then what else? Okay. I left this piece white, and I left my crate white so that I could show you how I do my antiquing. That's what I get so many questions on, is how I do my antiquing. And so I thought I will just do that now. You see that on a lot of the pieces that I've done. It's on my bubblegum machine, a lot of things. So we will do antiquing next. Now we're gonna do some antiquing. So I use this Folk Art Home Decor wax. It's antique wax in just, I think antique wax is the color. I think, because that's a French word. All right, and you need a wet paper towel and you need an old yucky rag. As you can see, I have many of them. This is water-based. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to get off. So don't be intimidated by it just because it's dark and ugly. So what I did is I dumped a little bit of the wax out onto my palette paper. You can use a piece of foil, whatever you have. Take your old rag and just wipe it all on here. Now, you do want to work fairly quickly because it will dry. And once it's dry, you can't get it off. So you want to work with it while it's wet. So now I have it on there. So now I'm just going to take my wet paper towel and I'm just going to start removing what I don't want. This kit is pretty light and springy. It's not really dark and antique-y, but I wanted to do a couple of pieces just so that I could show you how it's done. So I am going to take quite a bit off, probably more so than I would normally. You want this to be just a little bit more on the edges. And if you get it on there and you totally mess it up, just wipe the whole thing off and start over. All right, I'm gonna leave it about right there. All right, the next piece we're gonna do is this flower one. Yes, that's Cheeto. Okay, get it all on here. And that would be Daphne. I'm sure you can hear her drinking. Okay, and then just take it off. Get a clean spot on your towel, and I'm going to take most of that off in the middle. Just leave a little bit. Then it's ready to have the flowers put back on it. And then these pieces go on the end here. This gets glued onto the tulips first. Then these two pieces, then this, and you have it complete. One other thing I wanted to tell you though was I do the backs of all of my pieces with this and the easels and the other things that come. So I just put it on here, but I don't wipe it off. I just leave it on like a stain. There. And then you just put the two pieces together and you're ready to put something up on it. But I do the backs of all the pieces. Getting ready to do this one next. All right, I hope that helps.